everybody. It's Way here, or Grandy, depending on who's listening. Way in Ecuador, Grandy in Soham. Well, it's nice to see you again. It's nice to see you. I've not seen you for a little while. I've been very busy. I don't know what's going wrong. There just seems to be something on every night. But tonight I thought I really must read those grandchildren of mine a nice story. I've been seeing lots of pictures. I've seen pictures of Arthur and Saoirse at the fair in Soham. There's been a fair in Soham and they've had a great time. And I've also seen pictures of Julia Aureliano and Florencia in the sea, in the Pacific, at is it a place called Esmeralda? Is that right? Have I got that right? Hope so. Everybody seems to be having a really nice time, except Grandy, and all I've been doing is sitting here. Anyway, I've got a very scary story for you tonight. I'm not sure if I should read it to you or not. Might be a little bit too scary. Anyway, let's see what you think. If it gets too scary, you can always hide under the covers. Here we go. Oh, now we know what this one is, don't we? It's the Minotaur. It's one of the Greek myths. It is. They're very good, the Greek myths. I really like them, I do. And this is one of my favourites. Also, Saoirse's favourite story right now. She wants it every night. She does. Long ago, a king ruled in the city of Athens. Now, Athens is in Greece, isn't it? Modern day Greece. One day, he received a terrible letter. There it is, being handed over to him. Oh no, he sighed. Not again. What shall I do? What's wrong? Asked his son, Theseus. King Aegeus, because that was the king's name, King Aegeus waved the letter under Theseus's nose. Read this, he moaned. The letter said, to King Aegeus of Athens, send 14 of your people to me by the end of the month. Signed, King Minos of Crete. P.S. I want 7 men and 7 women. P.P.S. If you don't do as I ask, there will be trouble. I don't understand, said Theseus. Aegeus explained. Every 9 years, King Minos demands 14 people from Athens, said Aegeus. Oh, what for? Said Theseus. He sends them into a giant maze called the Labyrinth. Oh, that sounds fun, said Theseus. Fun, spluttered his father. At the heart of the labyrinth is a Minotaur. What's a Minotaur? Said Theseus. It's a terrible creature. He just shivered. It's half man and half bull, and it eats people. You'd think if it was half bull, it'd eat grass, wouldn't you? But that would spoil the story. Anyway. I've got an idea, said Theseus. I'll be one of the 7 men. Are you crazy? Said his father. The Minotaur will eat you alive. Don't worry, Dad, said Theseus. I'm the best sword fighter in Athens. Swish, swish. He just sighed. Oh, even if you did kill the monster, nobody has ever escaped from the labyrinth. Labyrinth's like a maze, and this is a really big one. get lost inside it. Yeah, can't find your way out. I'll find a way out, somehow, said Theseus confidently. King Aegeus begged his son not to go, but it was no use. Theseus was determined, and he boarded a ship with the other people. Aegeus was still very worried, so he whispered to a sailor, "If Theseus survives, fly white sails on the ship when you return. Don't forget, will you?" "Oh, we won't," said the sailors. "We won't." The wind filled the ship's sails. Theseus and the others were on their way. Before they arrived in Crete, Theseus hid his sword under his clothes. Soldiers were waiting for them as they docked. "Follow us to the palace," they said. "Ah, ah, ah, welcome," said King Minos. "Enjoy your last meal. At dawn, you enter the labyrinth." The guards took the prisoners away and locked them in a dungeon. That night, Ariadne, who was the king's daughter, took them some bread and water. As soon as she saw Theseus, Ariadne fell madly in love. There's Theseus sitting behind the bars. "I can't let you spend the rest of your life in the labyrinth," whispered Ariadne. "Then help me to kill the Minotaur and escape," said Theseus. Ariadne thought for a moment. "Very well," she said, "as long as you promise to marry me." "Okay," said Theseus, "I will." "Take this ball of magic string," said Ariadne. She gave him a ball of string. "Tie it to the entrance of the labyrinth as you go in." "Then what?" said Theseus. It's not so smart, Theseus. "Then what?" he said. "You'll see," smiled Ariadne. At dawn, Theseus and the others were taken to the labyrinth. When the guards weren't looking, Theseus tied one end of his string to a rock. "Get inside, all of you," shouted a guard. One by one, they entered the labyrinth. As Theseus went in, the ball of string jumped out of his hand. Theseus couldn't believe his eyes. The string was rolling away. It rolled along the ground all by itself. Look at that. "Which way shall we go?" said the others. "Follow me," said Theseus, and he led them through the winding passages. The magical string wound round and round this way and that, and soon they were deep inside the labyrinth, and the string stopped. Oh, look, there's the ball of string. There are some bones. Do you think they're people bones? And look there, what's that shadow? I think it might be the Minotaur. The ball of string had stopped in front of a cave. "Now what?" asked one of the women. There was a terrifying roar. It echoed around them. "It's the Minotaur!" cried Theseus. You would guess that. "It's coming this way!" The others tried to hide, but Theseus said, "Don't worry," and he pulled out his sword. The ground shook. Heavy footsteps came nearer and nearer, and the mighty Minotaur stormed into the cave. It went. It was the scariest creature Theseus had ever seen. He gripped his sword tightly. "Help! Help! Ah!" said the other people. The Minotaur gave a loud snort. Clouds of smelly breath shot from its nostrils. With an ear-splitting roar, it charged. The young prince swung his sword at the terrifying monster. Ah! The Minotaur was wounded, but it didn't give up. It chased Theseus around the cave. "Come on, Theseus," shouted the others. "Don't let it get us." Theseus tried to fight back, but the monster dodged every blow of his sword. Then Theseus, stepping back, tripped up and fell. He looked up to see the Minotaur looming overhead. The hungry creature reached out to grab him. With one last thrust, Theseus plunged his sword into the monster's heart. The Minotaur gave a blood-chilling cry, and it fell to the ground with a thud. Wow. "Well done, Theseus!" cried the others, jumping up and down in excitement. "You've saved us!" "It's not over yet," puffed Theseus. "We still have to find a way out." Theseus noticed the magic string lying on the ground. "Perhaps this will help us," he said. Following the trail of string, Theseus led the others out of the labyrinth. Then, when they got to the entrance, he crept up behind the guards, who weren't expecting anybody to come out. Nobody had ever come out before. Swiftly, he bonked them on the head and tied them up with the string. They said. "Back to the ship," said Theseus. At the ship, Theseus found Ariadne waiting at the dock. He climbed aboard his ship. "Don't forget your promise to marry me," said Ariadne. "Promise," said Theseus. Oh, yeah. Get on board. Come on." On the voyage home, the ship stopped at the island of Naxos. "We'll spend the night here," said Theseus. But Theseus couldn't sleep. He didn't want to marry Ariadne, King Minos's daughter. So while Ariadne was asleep, he did a terrible thing. He woke the others and ordered them back to the ship, and they sailed away. When Ariadne woke up next morning, she was all alone. She was heartbroken. She cried to the gods for revenge. "Make Theseus pay for deserting me." A god called Dionysus appeared, and Ariadne told him her story. Dionysus felt sorry for Ariadne. "I will punish Theseus for breaking his promise to you," he declared. Dionysus cast a spell across the sea. "Forget, sailors," he boomed. "Forget, forget, forget." Oh, there's his spell. Well, back at the ship, Theseus was nearly home. "I can't wait to be back in Athens," he told a sailor. Yeah, me too," said the man, looking up at the black sails. "What's the matter?" asked Theseus. "I think I was supposed to do something," said the sailor, "but I can't remember what it was." "That's funny," said another. "I had the same feeling." "Yeah, and me," cried a third. "Oh well," said Theseus, "I'm sure it was nothing important." But up on the cliffs, King Aegeus looked out to sea, and he saw Theseus's ship returning. Oh, my son's ship is back, he cried. Oh no, black sails! That means Theseus is dead! He was so upset that he plunged off the cliff, threw himself off the cliff into the sea, and was never seen again. When Theseus landed, he heard the dreadful news about his father. Theseus had beaten the Minotaur and escaped from the labyrinth, but his father never knew. He thought Theseus had died, didn't he? Well, it's a sad end to a story, isn't it? What a sad end. It is a sad end. But I tell you what, if Theseus had kept his promise, he'd have been fine, wouldn't he? Ariadne would have gone home with him, they'd have got married, King Aegeus would have been all right, and everybody had lived happily ever after. Hardly ever happens in a Greek myth. They hardly ever have a happy ending in my experience. I hope you enjoyed the story. I've got some other Greek myths for you, some you've not heard before. So I hope very much that you enjoy hearing those, and I'll try to read some for you in the next week. Be nice to get back to reading some stories for you. Lots of love. Love to Arthur, love to Saoirse, love to Aureliano and Florencia, and Julia. I love you very, 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 very much. Night, night. See you all soon. Bye.